Hello everybody, this is Tim here again, here another movie review. This time I just recently watched the film Mowgli on Netflix, directed by Andy Serkis. Now, by now there's a pretty good couple of reviews out for this flick, but I figured I'd go ahead and give my own opinion, having recently just watched the film. Mowgli is a very interesting story of a film coming to fruition here. This film was completed by like 2015 to 16, like around the same time as the Jon Favreau one. It was in production first, but the Jon Favreau one beat it out, so they shelved it to avoid competition with the Jon Favreau one, since, it would obviously hurt box office because people wouldn't want to, just jump and see the same exact movie over again, or a similar movie anyway. So it's held back to avoid competition, and eventually Warner Bros. Just kind of gave up and released the film on Netflix. And personally, this movie is dark. It's dark. It's more like the original stories, or the original Kipling story, and it's dark. And right off the bat, kids would want to go see this because of the talking animals and the PG-13 rating. And there's a scene in here that most parents and children would have walked out of this flick on. They would have walked out. That would have lost a big box office chunk. And then once you get past that, that means the film would only be appealing to adults because it's darker, and most adults won't even bother to go see a film like this unless they're taking their kids. We get into the film, it's Mowgli instead of the Jungle Book. Here, this is the Jungle Book version, live action wise, between the two, that focuses most on the character of Mowgli. He is the main character here. In the Jungle Book Jon Favreau one, he was more like kind of like a plot device, really, but he had enough character to him, but it was really the animal story. Here, it's his story. 100% it's his story. The Rohan Chan or Chan or something like that plays Mowgli. He does a great job. This kid really impressed me. He's better than the kid from the Disney version, and I don't want to make this a compare and contrast between the Disney version and this version. The kid in the Disney version did a really good job too. This is its own movie. I'm not going to compare it to the Disney version. It's its own flick. It's not a remake of the Disney version. It's its own adaptation. It's its own thing, and it deserves to be judged as such. For this film, the kid did a great job. Christian Bale does the voice of Bagheera the Panther, the kid who finds Mowgli as a child after his parents were killed by Shere Khan, voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch. Baloo is voiced by Andy Serkis himself, the director. And his son plays this little cute wolf pup named Boot. And of course there's other actors. And there's this mangy hyena sidekick with Shere Khan, who just made me laugh because he's like so mangy looking. He constantly has flies around him. He just reminded me of like the Lion King, or like the obnoxious hyenas. It was just funny seeing him there. And he talks to Mowgli later, and he's like, sometimes I dream I'm a tiger, but when I wake up in the morning, still a hyena. That was damn funny. That was funny. But yeah, it's just really story-driven wise, not to keep making comparisons to the Jon Favreau Jungle Book Disney flick, but story-wise, this one is much more emotionally impacting. It has more like drama going for it. Whereas the Jon Favreau version was more colorful and fun. Here, we get Mowgli. He's raised as a wolf, but he's really a human, of course, and he's looked down upon by most of the other wolves in the pack, except for this little albino wolf, who also sees Mowgli as his best friend because they're outcasts, and he sees him and Mowgli as being special because they're different, and they get along really well. And you got Andy Serkis as Baloo, who in this version is like this really like screwed up in the face bear with like a split lip, and he acts like a drill sergeant, but he still has the lovable quality to him where you can tell he loves Mowgli and everything. And Bagheera, voiced by Christian Bale. You get much more Bagheera's backstory here than any of the other versions that I remember, or at least the live action Disney one, where he talks about how he used to have a collar around his neck when he used to be in a cage, and he had to gain man's trust, and that's what he tells Mowgli eventually later on in the movie when he's in man's village. Shere Khan has like this gimp or limp paw or whatever that he keeps dragging, which I believe is in the book, and it's never been incorporated until now. CGI-wise in this flick, the CGI, the look of the actual animals, because they try to put in some of the features of the actual actors in here to do something different, has split a lot of people. Personally, I think it was a really cool idea, and it adds a very like fable storybook quality to this. But CGI wise, for the overall CGI look, this film is not as sharp as the Disney film. Here, the CGI, it ranges from different qualities. At some points, it's great and looks just as good as the Disney live action one, even better. And in other times, it's just like okay. It's never really bad, but it just ranges from like great to good to like okay. At random points it'll drop in quality. And the reason why is because this film was dumped on Netflix at the last minute by Warner Brothers, who just felt like the film wouldn't recoup its big budget, and I don't think it would have. I'm actually surprised Warner Brothers greenlit this film to do it. I'm glad they did, because it was really cool seeing a version of the Jungle Book like this that's closer to the book in terms of tone. But this would have never have made its budget back. I'm really surprised that Warner Brothers as a studio went forward with this. This was never going to make its money back. Kids just, they would have left when I get to the scene that I'm talking about. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But the cute little, well, I'll save it for a minute. But and then the snake, voiced by Kate Blanchett, Ka or whatever, who sees the past, present, future, was utilized much better here than in the Jon Favreau version. You just had more to do. Overall, though, the third act in the Jon Favreau version was tighter in that film than this one here. And I reviewed the Jon Favreau version before, and I really enjoyed it. Great flick, easily a 4 out of 4. And I really enjoyed it. This is something totally different in terms of overall tone. It starts out kind of light and funny, but you see the underlying hints of the darkness, and it just gets darker as it goes along. Eventually, Mowgli tries to win this race, so he can join this kind of like hunt trial for the wolf pack, and if he makes it, he'll get to be in the pack. And he has to all the wolves have to get away from Bagheera, and he does a really good job. But Bagheera deliberately singles him out instead of chasing the others. He goes directly after him, so he can take him down no matter what. Because if he loses, he'll be an outcast even more, and he'll have to go live in the man village. And Shere Khan keeps wanting to kill him, and Bagheera knows that's the only way that he'll be safe. And the interesting thing about the plotline here is it's told completely from Mowgli's point of view, really. And it's about him coming to terms with growing up and finding his place in the world of what he wants to be. And pretty much through the film, you get people saying, you're neither man nor wolf. You're something else. And he has to come to terms with what he wants to be, in his life, coming to adulthood. And later on in the film, when he goes to the human village, there's this hunter there who is paid to hunt after Shere Khan, because Shere Khan's a dick. He keeps going out and killing the humans' cattle, and that's making the humans want to destroy more of the jungle to find him. And this hunter is really kind and loving towards Mowgli, but then of course Mowgli learns the dark side of humanity when he sees all the animal trophies or whatever, because this guy kills for sport, not just hunting, for meat and stuff. He kills for sport, just for fun. And he's got all these trophies of these animals, poor, innocent animals. And he's got one of the elephant's tusks that Mowgli met earlier in the film, and he has the head of Boot, the innocent, lovable albino wolf, who earlier in the film Mowgli had a fight with because he was so upset that he didn't make the wolf pack, and he had a mental breakdown and told him that they're not special and everything. And Boot, of course, walked off sad, and he tried to apologize to him. You could tell that Mowgli was sorry, the character was sorry, but of course he had already left by then, so he never got a chance to really apologize to him. And there he is looking at his friend's head, who of course and his head is still smiling like the character does in the movie. That shit was traumatic. Seriously, it was so impactful. It was almost too impactful for the movie, honestly. Almost too deep for the movie. And I thought about that. After that hit me hard. It almost brought me to tears. It was hard hitting, because the last moment he got to spend with his best friend was an argument about him telling him he's not special. So that's really hurtful. Yeah, he probably, after that, ran into his mom or something and had a nice moment with her or whatever, but the fact that was his last moment with his best friend was pretty friggin' heartbreaking. But yeah, Boot dies, and it's really sad. Everybody on the internet's honestly been talking about this. It's really sad, and that took balls to do for Andy Serkis. That was ballsy. that was probably why Warner Brothers said, there's no damn way this is going to make its money back in theaters after that. There just ain't no way. So he wants to get revenge on the hunter and take him out, so he teams up with the elephants and to help him take down Shere Khan. He's just tired of his crap, and he screams out, Khan! And of course, Benedict Cumberbatch actually was Khan. But he comes out there, and they get into a fight. Pretty decent fight. Kind of a little bit too quick. They get surrounded by elephants, and the wolf father of Mowgli sacrifices himself by jumping in the way and knocking Shere Khan out of the way when he's getting ready to kill Mowgli. And when he knocks him out of the way, the hunter, Lockwood's the character's name, is shooting to try to kill the tiger. And he accidentally, he doesn't, he shoots the wolf instead, because he was knocking Shere Khan out of the way. So the wolf dies in a very sad scene. This movie's too dark for kids. If you have real little kids, I'd recommend not letting them watch this one and probably sticking to the Disney version, which I also liked. It's much more for children. This is more for teenagers and adults. I would say pre-teens and adults. But yeah, he gets in the fight with Shere Khan. He manages to stab him. Shere Khan's limping his way off into the jungle. Mowgli goes into the jungle and finds him. And you think Shere Khan's dead. And I like this little funny twist thing here. He freaking throws out his paw, tries to slice him at the last minute. And that's when Mowgli finishes him off, and he's like, Shere Khan, now you can sleep, be angry no more. Almost like a sad, sentimental death for the tiger, because he's just been so pissed off forever. Which, that was cool. And the hunter, he keeps, trying to shoot at the tiger while Mowgli's in a fight with him. And the elephant runs into the dude and, pierces him with his tusk or whatever, gores him, I guess. Knocks him down. We don't actually we see him fall to the ground. We just assume he's dead, but it really happened pretty quick. That felt like a bit of a compromise. It felt like they probably had a much darker death scene filmed for this dude. Andy Serkis did for where he was bleeding out or something. But it felt like they edited it and compromised it to just get it over with quickly. That was kind of disappointing. But yeah, we get to the end, and he's found his place in the jungle now. He's neither man nor beast. He's something else. He's the man cub. He's part jungle and part human. But can never embrace certain aspects but rejects certain aspects of both. So he becomes his own being who lives in the jungle. And he becomes the leader of the wolf pack to keep the wolves safe and protect the jungle from then on, after taking out the two biggest threats, the hunter and the tiger. I would be interested in seeing a sequel to this, but judging from how dark it is and all that, and it ending up on Netflix, I doubt that's going to happen, but I would have been cool with it. And I know this film went through reshoots, and that had to have been the ending. If there is a more complex version of the third act or whatever that Andy Serkis shot, I would love to see it on Blu-ray in a director's cut. That would be really cool. All in all, this is a 4-star film. From 1 to 4, it's a 4-star film. It's getting mixed reviews, and most of that's coming from comparing it to the Disney version, and I perfectly understand why it's getting mixed reviews, because this film is going to be way too dark for most, and most people only know Jungle Book from the, the Disney film, and that's fine, because that's what most people grew up with. But if you're into the more darker fantasy type tales and stuff like that, this is a film for you to check out and give it a shot if you're into that kind of stuff. So thank you for watching the review, and I'll see you guys again with the next review.